I first started weightlifting seriously when I was 17 years old, back in 2022. And around this time, I was extremely disciplined. I was going to the gym for about 5 to 6 days a week. And I was also having my right supplements like my protein powder, my creatine, and my pre-workout. I was abusing the fuck out of pre-workout, to be honest. And all within a couple months of doing this, I fell deep in love with bodybuilding and weightlifting. But there was one problem. I wasn't disciplined with my diet. I was eating all the bullshit junk food that you can think of, like from McDonald's and KFC, Subway, and In-N-Out. And I was eating like ice creams and candy, all the bullshit food that you can think of that makes you feel good right now, but in the future, it makes you feel like shit and guilty. And I believe this is the main reason I couldn't gain as much muscle as I would have liked to in my first years of bodybuilding. And yes, I was eating my chicken, my protein, all the good foods, but I definitely believe that all the junk food I was eating on the side definitely outweighed all the healthy food that I was eating. But it wasn't until the beginning of this year, 2025, everything changed. I finally cut off all the junk food from my life, and I finally started eating a lot more healthier. So I went through this journey for months of researching different types of diets I can try out. And I tried out many diets like gaining, maintaining, body recomp, low fat, high fat, all the bullshit diets you hear on YouTube from like Greg Doucette and Jeff Nippard. But after trying all these different diets, I came to a conclusion that there's one true diet that really works for muscle growth, especially for me, who I have shitty genetics, to be honest with you. It has completely changed my bodybuilding journey, and I experienced the most muscle growth that I've ever experienced before, and maybe it will work for you. So in today's guide, I'm going to teach you and show you how to achieve that. How to achieve growing more muscle and getting that aesthetic physique that you always dreamed of, even if you're a beginner right now. And I guarantee you, after trying this diet, you're going to see a lot of progress, and you're going to be happy with that progress compared to any diet. And that diet is clean bulking. But I don't mean clean bulking like how most influencers tell you to clean bulk, like to eat big or to just eat more calories. No, that's not what I mean. By clean bulking, I'm meaning eating healthy calories or being on a healthy caloric surplus or eating healthy foods in higher amounts. Not the junk foods like what Sam Sulek and the Trent twins eat. No, healthy organic foods. And to know how much of those foods that you need to eat is to find your caloric maintenance. And the way you find your caloric maintenance is by multiplying your own body weight by 16. And after you multiply your own body weight by 16, you'll get a total number. And that total number is your total caloric daily maintenance. And that's what you need to maintain your body, what it's at right now. But to clean bulk, you need to add 200 or 500 more calories on top of that. So if your caloric maintenance right now is around 2,500, add between 200 or 500 more. Nothing more and nothing less. Because if you eat more, you'll gain more fat. You will get more muscle, but you will gain more fat. Now, the next point is to eat lots of protein. And protein is the single most important thing that you need to eat. And I can't advocate this even more than I'm already doing right now. This is extremely important. And that is because of protein synthesis. Protein synthesis is the scientific process where your protein is broken down into amino acids. And what those amino acids do is that they repair and they regrow the muscles that were damaged from micro tears from daily workouts or from weightlifting. To put it in basic bro science terms, it's a process where your protein turns into muscle. You're going to want to eat lots of protein because without protein, there's no process for your muscles to regrow and grow thicker and to heal. And the way you know how much protein that you need to eat is to multiply your own body weight by 1 gram of protein. That's just the basic rule of thumb, but if you want to eat more, you can. But the basic range of protein that you need to eat is between 100 and 200 grams of protein. And I personally eat a lot more than I am supposed to eat. I eat around 200 grams of protein daily. And that's because I work out a lot. I am pretty active. I'm working in a business. I'm walking around, I'm doing lots of heavy lifts, and I'm also doing like kickboxing. So I need lots of protein for my muscles to regrow and heal a lot more faster. And good sources of protein are eggs, steak, chicken, and protein powder. And the best source of protein out of all of these, I had to say, is steak. And that is because steak is high in protein, but also high in fats. And fats is what you need for your testosterone, for your hormones, for them in order to actually function properly. And I can attest for this. After eating a bunch of steak, specifically ribeye steak, for the past couple of months, I have the best muscle growth and my testosterone improved. I went from like having low testosterone, like I think it was like around 300 nanograms per deciliter. I went from that to 932 nanograms per deciliter. So steak is definitely the best source of foods that you need to eat. Now the next step is to consume lots of carbs. And you may have heard on the internet that carbs make you fat, that carbs are like empty calories or some shit like that. That is bullshit. Carbs is what our muscles need. Our muscles actually run on carbs, and that is because of glycogen. Glycogen is glucose, and what glucose is, it's energy, it's fuel for our body, it's fuel for our muscles and our organs. And glucose as glycogen is what gives our muscles the roundness and the size of it. You can probably relate to this. Sometimes you go into the gym and your muscles look deflated and they look weak and just smaller than the day before. The day before you probably had bigger muscles and you had a better pump. That's because of glycogen, and you are depleted in glycogen. And the way you replenish those reserves of glycogen is that you consume lots of carbs. And every time you hit a good workout, that's when your carbs, the glycogen inside your muscles, are depleted. And the way you balance your own carbs is to eat some carbs before your workout. Then after your workout, you eat more, you eat the most carbs. So when you sit down for lunch or dinner, that's when you're supposed to have the most carbs, not before your workout. And the recommended amount of carbs that you need to consume is between 150 grams to 300 grams. And that's around 30 to 60% of your daily total calories. And personally, I like to keep it on the lower end. Like I consume around 150 grams of carbs. And that is because for me, carbs make me feel sluggish. They make me feel like weaker and more mentally incapable. So I like to keep it on the lower end. And good sources of carbs are white rice and banana, nothing else. And yes, there's like other sources like potatoes and pasta, but those kind of sources of carbs are really bad because of pesticides, and they're not single ingredients. They have like multiple ingredients in them and they're processed and all that shit. So I would just suggest you to have white rice and bananas. Have white rice for your lunch and your dinner, and have banana before your workouts. And stay away from all the bullshit foods that have pesticides and chemicals in them, like pasta, potatoes, bread, and oats. Now lastly, you need to consume high amounts of fats, but not too much. And that is because fats are easily stored in our bodies. And that is why you see in some people who eat junk food and fast food gain a lot more fats compared to other people who may seem to eat around the same amount, but they're eating foods less than fats. So when you have high amounts of fats in your foods, you gain more fat. So your diet has to be mildly high in fats, but it has to be natural fats, not the bullshit fats from McDonald's and all that. And the reason for that is because of your hormones. Your hormones, your testosterone needs lots of fats in order to function properly. But specifically, you're going to want to consume fats for your testosterone. And testosterone is what makes you feel like a man. It makes you feel stronger, more fit, more energetic. And when you have more energy, you push yourself more at the gym, which means you grow more muscle. But again, be extremely careful of the amount of fats that you eat. And that is because fats are estrogenic, which means that they increase the female sexual hormone, which is estrogen. That's why you see on some girls that they have more fat on their boobs, on their legs, or on their ass. That is because of the sexual female hormone, estrogen. And that's why for some guys who are already fat or they're already obese, kind of look like they're built like girls. They have like man boobs and they have a big ass. And the reason for that is because they have higher amounts of estrogen in their bodies. So be careful with that. Consume around 80 to 120 grams of fats. And I highly suggest you to track your fats, or like apps like on MyFitnessPal or other fitness apps that track your calories. And I'm not saying by doing all this, you're not gonna gain fat or any fat. You will gain fat. When you are bulking, despite being on a clean bulk or organic bulk, you're still gonna gain fat. It's gonna happen no matter what. But by tracking and being careful of the amount of fats that you consume and staying between 80 to 120 grams of fats, you will minimize the amount of fat that you gain on your body. And good sources of fats are steak, eggs, avocados, cheese, butter. And I say all these sources of fat are the best because they're rich in natural fats, but also rich in other macros. Like for avocados, they're rich in magnesium, which helps you sleep. And cheese has calcium and also protein and also fats. And calcium helps you with your bones, your bone growth. So all these are great sources of fats and also other sources of macros. I'll put up on the screen my diets. If you want to try it out, you can, but be aware, we're all different, so it may or may not work for you. So here it is if you want to try it or try to adjust it to your own needs. All right, man, if you made it this far to the video, I want to thank you for being here, for watching this video, a long form content video instead of being on TikTok or playing video games. You're here trying to improve on yourself and trying to be better. So I congratulate you and I give you the thanks of doing that. And before I leave, I want to give you one more tip, and that is to believe in yourself. Believe that you succeed and you will succeed, man. And if you believe in yourself that you will grow muscle, then you will grow muscle, bro. So believe in yourself. Believe that you can achieve that aesthetic physique that you always dreamed of, and believe that you can follow this diet. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. And be sexy.